Fitz confronts his darker side. Coulson has a face-to-face with Hale, and an old enemy returns. Several, actually. For realsies. What? You thought they'd be slowing down? Hell no. They just turned that shit up to 11. It's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, Episode 14. The Devil Complex. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yes, standard spoiler warning applies, and oh my god does it apply this week. What did they do? They did everything. Oh my god, there was so much going on in this episode. So much story, so much plot, so much movement, and so much badassery on the part of Ian DeCastecker. We're doing it. We're jumping right into it. There's no need to spend any more time. We're getting right to our scene of the week. First off, and that, of course, is Mr. Castecker doing his damnedest. The confrontation between the doctor and Fitz when he realizes it's him. Oh, look, this was a fabulous episode. I mean, again, there was so much to cover, and we're going to hit a lot of it. And the whole setup that we had with the doctor showing up from the first moments of knocking Zeke out and pulling the thing off, and we're like, oh my god, it's another one of the manifestations of the fear dimension. By the way, awesome opening scene there when we saw the manifestation of the astronaut coming together. Oh man, that looked good. Bart Kopak, how do you keep doing so much awesome stuff every week? He's the head of the FX, guys. Great Twitter feed. Check him out. Anyway, so I mean that whole setup, that was great, and the initial back and forth with them in their initial scene there. But really, when it gets down to Daisy getting captured and being put on the operating table, and we're seeing how it's all coming together, it's like suddenly the doctor is doing a good thing. I mean, that was the first thing that caught me before we even got to this scene was, oh my god, he's trying to fix Quake, and he seems to be doing a good job. And I mean, and that was very confusing in its own way. That is this the dark side of Fitz trying to do something right? But it all came together in that one scene. I mean, it was a long scene. So much happened there. We've got Fitz confronting the doctor as Quake is laying there, as Daisy is laying there. I mean, and that was kind of the perfect background reaction to all that too. Because while Fitz is arguing with the doctor, we have Daisy in the background going, who are you talking to? What is wrong? And, you know, and you're thinking I was thinking for a moment, well, her head is fixed. She can't see around. She's only catching part of this conversation. But it kept bringing up what is going on. And then when Gemma comes in and we realize it's Fitz himself. I mean, I have said it so many times how Ian DeCastecker is the acting heavyweight of this show. And this scene, again, just points it out. First playing both sides separately. And then when he came back together and we see Fitz working it out in his mind that it's him, that there is no doctor, there is no manifestation. We find out from the conversation later, he's been talking to the doctor. That voice has been in his head ever since he left the framework. And of course it has. It's him. He remembers every moment. That was part of his personality. That he hits on later on at the end of the scene so much. It was me. But in that one moment, in that scene, as he's piecing it apart and he's seeing it, and then he is realizing that he manifested the doctor to do what he was unwilling to do, to take that extra step. He accessed that part of his psyche in order to do what was right. which was this crazy thing he even admitted as he's sitting down and he realizes he's Fitz and he's realizing that he has brought the robot back to life and programmed it in order to make himself go through with removing Daisy's implant and stopping anybody that would get in his way. Was just, again, he's sitting down, he's like, and beside all of it, I still think this is the right thing to do. It was just, from beginning to end, as we see that whole sequence. And even if we want to extend it out, you know, into the kind of like second editionary scene where we see him talking Quake through having to compress. Why does he have to do it? Because he's got to compress the gravitonium in order to close the breach. Could it be the breach that's going to destroy the world or Quake? And of course she's arguing with it. I will never forgive you. Of course not. She's afraid she's going to end the world. From Fitz's point of view, needs her power in order to do the gravitonium, what he can't do and can't find the science in order to fix the breach that is possibly going to be the thing that ends the world. What he and Gemma have that conversation later on about sometime maybe we have to push the extremes and do the wrong and push the edges in order to save the world, in order to switch the timeline. Maybe, maybe not. Is this something new, or is this the same trope they have fallen into? It's impossible to know. The only person that knows anything is Yo-Yo, and she's not really talking that much, but we'll get to that. But anyway, just from beginning to end, that one scene, yes, everything else before and after it was awesome, but that one scene just had so much in it, so much character. You see in the heartache from Gemma as she's realizing what's going on, the confusion on Daisy. I mean, it was just, and even Deke there is just perplexed with what is going, just completely lost. It was just, there was so much emotion in with that scene, and how much, just how it was presented, how it was shot, everything that Fitz had done, all of his reactions to even following through with it and then getting down and giving himself up because he knew people weren't going to forgive him. But again, he also believed he was doing what was right. And that level of complexity was just, so much meat, so much storytelling in that small chunk was just astounding. Mwah, guys, just a beautiful sequence. And just because it really kind of gives a lightness to that whole heavy sequence, I'm really glad that we had that last scene between Gemma and Deke. Was very touching, was very sweet, and it's a good balance point, because when we ended, you know, the whole sequence, when you have Gemma and Fitz talking through that glass partition, and Fitz saying, you know, it was me, what is this going to do? You know, we're seeing, oh my God, is this another Fitzsimmons Fisher? They just got married, and we're going to split them up again. We're going to cause these problems. But I mean, one, we don't see Gemma really resigned to hating Fitz and that, to going against him. She really seems to be trying to grasp when she's asked that you no longer believe we should be together, you no longer deserve me. That's a question. That you no longer deserve me? She's asking how Fitz sees things, not how she feels. I think she is confused and hurt, but I think she's still committed with Fitz, and I think that's the confusion that we have going in. But with Deke stepping up at that point, it gives us that viewage that yes, this is a temporary thing. We're not splitting up Fitzsimmons. They're going to get back together. It's all right, because we got Deke right there. And we know. So, I mean, including that, I think was really nice to kind of lift that momentary, oh my God, you're going to do this again? No, they're not. It's just a bump. Just a bump. But how he does it too, telling the stories about, you know, the quotes and the sandwich. Of course, prosciutto sandwich, she's the only one that can make that for Fitz. How would he know? I mean, it was just beautifully, simply done as she starts to realize, how would you know all these things? We haven't talked about it, any of this stuff. My mom used to talk about her parents all the time. I mean, it was just, I'm tearing up right now. It was a beautiful, simple way of revealing that. Again, he just found out last episode, they're not wasting time dragging these things out. I appreciate that. And then her throwing up at the end, that was just perfect. I mean, come on, she sees this whole reality, the whole possibilities and things. I mean, how are you talking with your grown grandson after you're long dead, according to him, but you haven't even had your kid yet? I mean, that is kind of a mind warp, which a lot of this episode is. So just her throwing up right at the end there as kind of a purge was just kind of the perfect topper to that. And General Hale, yeah. Wow, a lot going on right there. But let's kind of take this stepwise through. First off, love the kidnapping, love the pickup. Capturing Hale was just parking the bus on the road and making it invisible so that the car just drives right up into the ramp and into the back of it. Awesome. I mean, that was so perfectly done. I love their imaginations. Anyway, but we get our final kind of confrontation. We learn a bit more about Hale. That she is committed here. She's here to save humanity. And she is not backing down. She's got Crusher Creel backing her up in the driver's seat. I love that too. The fact that May knew instantly. What, you can't move it? It was like a statue? Get out of there, Creel. It was beautiful. It was so much of amazing intensity right there. But then we have the Superior show up. You guys know how much I love Zach McGowan. Really thrilled to see him. And I love the kind of reversal they did. How they have the imply that he is the one in charge, that that Hale is working for him, which is what I was sort of thinking of originally. But also we find out why Hale is just a regular person and not an LMD, because the Superior can no longer make lifelike LMDs. Now that Ada's gone, Superior does not have that technology, which explains all of the warriors, the soldiers, why they're just sort of faceless robots. They can make soldiers, but they can't make lifelike LMDs. So that kind of explains a lot. We get a lot of big pickup right here. And then as we get the reversal, that we find out that Hale is actually the one in charge. The Superior is working for her. Why? Because she's got his head. Kind of stuck with that. That's the only real human part left with him. And I gotta say, I love the takedown that Phil did in the Quinjet. Thought you were all big, thought you were in charge. Even that last line, oh, I'm sorry, are you still here? Just hands him the hand. Oh, you used to be so big and now you're just a lapdog. It was just, oh, really? I mean, because Superior has so much of that arrogance, so much of that character. I mean, he is superior to everyone else. But now he's not human anymore. Now he's an LMD and he's just following orders for Hale. It was just, anyway, I love that whole takedown of him in the Quinjet. But of course, what we're really finding out here is Hale is Hydra. Hydra all along. I mean, they sort of implied that when we had that episode last week when we were talking about with Werner, but it seemed that she was connected with von Strucker, but not necessarily part of it. But I guess kind of like any politics, you have various factions. So he was one faction of Hydra, and she was representing another. So she is totally Hydra, bringing the band back together in order to apparently save humanity. From who? The Kree! Yes, the Confederacy. Remember, the Confederacy is Cassius' father's group that saw Earth as this potential jewel that they wanted to exploit. So now they are connecting up with General Hale on Hydra for something. And this is the kind of interesting thing where they left it at the end of the episode, is because, look, Hydra was formed off of Hive, who was the Inhuman that kind of in a way scared off the rest of the Kree when they were around on Earth, and ended up getting banished off to Maveth. Hydra was formed as a warship to Hive in order to bring him back to Earth. So that the Kree is dealing with Hydra, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's been so long they don't necessarily know that connection, or perhaps that is the connection and why they hooked up with the group. It's kind of interesting. I do want to learn a little bit more about that. But that's the thing. Are they coming to colonize the Earth? Are they coming to take over the Earth? Or are they working with them for something else? Because Hale seems very insistent that they're here to save humanity. That's certainly what the Superior was saying. His fight is to keep humanity on the planet for years to come. And certainly Creel seemed to be more on the good guy's side, and now if he's working for the bad guys, there's got to be sort of a reason. So if Hale is there to defend humanity, is she fake working with the Confederacy in order to get information to fight them? Or is the Confederacy working with Hydra because some other group, maybe another Kree group or a different alien, are planning to come to Earth and they are preparing for that defense? Those are some of the questions we're probably going to find out next week because, again, they're moving stuff forward really, really fast here. But, man, Hale is Hydra. Hydra is working with the Kree, and the Kree are coming back. And what that also means, of course, Kree are on Earth, which may give some, some insights, some positive views for saving Coulson, especially when it comes to one Agent May. And May is not having any of Coulson's BS anymore. Let's be honest, several competitions for Scene of the Week this week. I'll be honest, this was right up there. Because, we did have the whole scene between the confrontation between Coulson and May and Hale, and they're in front of getting on the Quinjet. But when May pulls him off, when Coulson's ready to just sacrifice himself, I'll go with you if the team's going to be safe. When May pulls him back, she was so pissed at him. And for obvious reasons. She cares about him. And he has been too willing to sacrifice himself. Especially now that he knows that he's dying. It seems like he's willing to jump in front of any bullet at any time. And I think that's really getting to her. I love their back and forth. And she's describing, it's a trap. You know it's a trap. And he's like, yeah, but it's a really good trap. It's like a little boy, a little spy boy. Just, oh my God, we get to do spy stuff. Oh, it was awesome. But her line, you're turning your back on me. Especially for those Felinda shippers, which I have to appreciate. This is another one of those strong moments right there. He's saying, I'm not turning my back on you. But the fact that it's not, you're not turning your back on the team, you're not stepping away, you're turning your back on me. Is again that continual acknowledgement of the connection between May and Phil. And it's not one that oversteps professionalism. Once she sees where's commitment going, the reason why it is, she's willing to give him up. Fine, you can take him. But it's not an easy bit, and it's certainly not something that she is going to allow without firm conversation there with Phil about the how much she feels about that particular decision. So I thought it was a great scene to have. Again, not big, and I know that whole Felinda thing's getting dragged out for a lot of the fans who are waiting to see it happen. I don't think it needs to be pushed. These are adults in complex situations trying to deal with with the world falling apart, potentially ending around them. But these small little things, I think, are important to show that real depth of connection between the characters, more than just from a professional standpoint. All right, just a couple of small things. One, that scene between Coulson's team and Hale's team, right there on the ramp of the Quinjet, where Coulson is trying to convince Hale that S.H.I.E.L.D. is innocent from the charges, that they didn't shoot, that it wasn't Daisy that shot Talbot, that was an LMD, and that LMD was programmed by the Superior. And then Hale throws out, well, yeah, but if you look at the program of the Superior, that looks like that was programmed by Fitz. A lot of S.H.I.E.L.D. parts there. So even as Coulson is working to prove his innocence, the fact how in some ways it does, of course, tie back to the team. Fitz did help create the LMDs. That is true. I just thought was really done. But more to the point, how it hits down to what you can prove. And I think that line from Hale was really insightful. And it was definitely the clue that there was a lot more going on. Because it wasn't about truth. It was about proof. And in which case the Superior was right at that point is, you see how much that you don't understand, how little you can control. It was just sort of a great back and forth, how much S.H.I.E.L.D. really working to show that they're in the right position. It's not the truth that people care about. They just prefer their story. Yes, the implant being pulled out of Daisy's neck, that went way deep with the length of, that was nasty. Really. There was one moment between Yo-Yo and Mac in the beginning where he tries to reach out for her hand, and of course she doesn't have one. It was just a very quiet moment. It was subtly done, but both characters recognized that moment and then just sort of moved forward from it. So it was a simple bit, but I think really powerful too. The astronaut was not Gemma's old astronaut boyfriend from Mavis, but of course Hive in the astronaut outfit. It was the first encounter that she had with him back in 6,722 hours, right at the end before Fitz saved her. So that's why it was one of Gemma's fears. We already saw Hive, for the rest of things, so just pre-Hive. I appreciated Gemma referring to Fitz's old injury in regards to seeing the doctor, because he used to see her post of his drowning injury back in season 2. So I love the fact that they called back to that injury. I mean, they've done it a couple of times, and I appreciate it, because Fitz has sort of moved on and really become much more of himself. But the fact that they're acknowledging that that this was an event that did happen and does have side effects and repercussions, I really appreciate it. Obviously not really in play here. As Fitz says, it was him. But I do like they at least reference it. Oh, and the title of the episode, The Devil Complex, I think that's obviously playing off of the God Complex, but it's the darker side, Fitz's darker side. You know what I mean. All right, now, I know I promised last week that I had this big old theory on a connection between Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Infinity Wars, and it got a little bigger than I thought it was. I'm really kind of polishing out. I'm trying to make something nice. So give me a few more days. This will be out. Keep your eyes open. I think you're really going to like it. All right, well, I think that covers everything, all the big stuff at least. A lot happened, and it looks like next week it's going to continue. That's right, we're finding out about Hale's plan. She's going full Hydra, and I think she's proposing that Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. form an alliance to save humanity. That whole concept just kind of freaks me out in my mind. But that is going to wrap us up for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you did enjoy this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, comments, you know where to put them, down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Darren Jakes. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. It's quick, it's easy. We got a whole bunch more of these episodes coming up. You don't want to miss any of those reviews. Plus, we're doing Walking Dead, Legion, starting up in about 11 days. That looks so good. Plus, we have Westworld Season 2, Fear the Walking Dead, lots of stuff. Don't miss it if you're a subscriber. Do that by clicking my face right here. And I'll go ahead and throw up latest couple of reviews right here, and you can check those out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.